All right, let's get started. I'm going to share the link really quick to the community, and we'll start hunting for some opportunities and do some research on tradings. All right, so it's just going to go to the YouTube channel here. There we go. Let's get the Otter Gang in here too. And let's send it off to Fanova. Hey guys, how you doing? Just letting peeps know. All right, cool. There we go. So let's get started. Just gonna get the invested charts section set up because we're gonna probably be diving into that a lot. All right, cool. How's it going? All right, cool. Hey, man. If you guys ever wonder, I'm looking down to the left. That's where my monitor is for the chat. So, how you guys doing? All right, cool. So, I just want to quickly go over Bitcoin's price action. Yesterday during the YouTube video, I was talking about how, if we have this break to the upside rather than the downside, we'd have to watch this daily uptrending momentum potentially acting as resistance. And it did. So what I was hoping for today, when I did my signals post today that was preparing for a long position, I wanted to first wait until we broke this downtrending resistance and confluence with this bounce that we had off of this downtrending level of resistance to give it a chance to act as support. And then when we create that higher high, it would confirm a bigger move, maybe even all the way up to like 48K. But instead, we lost our, the evolving momentum and our macro momentum here, and got a rejection and created a double top, and that confirmed a break to the downside, and we didn't end up having this act as support. And so as a value area trader trading within this area, they would have done really well. And if you use value areas in combination with formations, you would use this short as, you'd watch this downtrend resistance as a limitations for your short take profits. And we had a decent bounce there. So I probably would have, if I was value area trading this, I probably would have taken some profits off the table from that reaction and then let the rest ride. And right now we're at the point of control, and we could, if we lose this point of control, the next level is basically coming right back down to the value area low at 41,450. So right now, basically the technical, the behavior that you can expect is maybe a retracement back up to this resistance, and depending on how we behave there, and if we fall down and create a lower low, then we're definitely going to go to 41,450 again. So that's what we have to watch out for. Now, since this didn't validate, well, this is basically what we got to watch out for. And we can use that information in confluence with whatever altcoin trades that we do. So we should probably looking for bearish, downside kind of moves rather than bullish moves. But you never know. We might be able to find something with its own relative strength and trade off of it for a long position. So if you guys have anything with its own relative strength that you want me to take a look at, we can do that. Or whatever asset you guys are in, or any trades that you're in, if you want help managing it, we can go through that together too. All good, especially after that money rain from the sky yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was nuts. Yeah, just so many opportunities just coming. And I wanted to take them all, but I needed to limit myself to only 3 of them, or else it gets kind of overwhelming when you're managing that many positions at once. So I took 3, then once I started moving my stop loss into the profit zone, then I took on a 4th, which was the Bitcoin trade that we did here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. there wasn't that much more we could do responsibly, I guess. You want to look at Cardano? Yeah, we can look at Cardano. So let's pull that up on the charts here. Yeah, Cardano is, so this is what I was preparing for with Cardano, was a potential return here. If you look at the lower time frames, we were starting to build a bullish structure, but didn't confirm, so we couldn't take action on it. We're still downtrending, so if you're in a short, you know, the more you trade Cardano, the more you realize that once it picks a direction, it keeps wanting to go that direction until it fails, right? It's for a long time. And it's a very straight linear path. So what I'll be watching out for right now, we need to update this current structural value area. Nothing really changed that much. So it's likely going to keep going down until we revisit maybe a reaction to this downtrending resistance. We might get a support bounce off of it, or off the value area low at 55.23. But we're going to watch this downtrending momentum here for the confirmation that the support is being honored. So we're just going to keep watching this. When price action comes down, we get a bounce. Don't think of this like it's an actual support being honored until we break this momentum. And then when the momentum breaks, we normally start to build reversal patterns, and then we trade off of the break of the horizontal resistance that's created from that pattern. So we got that for Cardano. Cardano needs a chance to cool off. Like, it definitely needs a chance to cool off. After that insane move from 45.83, once we broke that tiny little structure, that was the only little warning that we got for this big move. Yeah, we need a bit of a cool down because this market cap increased by like 50% from this move, guys. So it makes sense for it to consolidate a bit. People are taking profits, and then there's people buying up off of this value area low. So that's what we're looking at for Cardano. Any other questions about Cardano before we potentially move on to something else? It's always a slow climber or a slow dropper too, usually. Like, it just crawls its way up and down. I was about to short that rejection, but hesitated. Yeah, when you see a giant move to the upside like this, you're gonna understand Cardano's like price action a lot more the more you trade it. That once it fails, it fails. Once it's done with its momentum, it just builds a new one, right? And it's always a tight move. Like, this is a really tight move. If you didn't get in during this break, which is like the safest call, waiting for a break of resistance before trading off of like a support bounce, because you have that validation that it's going to continue. It's hard to get in because it doesn't really build any structure for you to get in safely. Like, there's no real like pennant continuation pattern. It just step ladders its way up. So you just keep getting higher highs, like these little scoop patterns that you're seeing. And this double top and loss of momentum, for example, that's a big warning that's going to go down. This one, we didn't have much. We had this horizontal, well, slightly horizontal resistance here. We confirmed it as resistance. And then this would be the candle that you begin shorting right here. Once you get that lower low, put your stop loss above here. And now every single time you see it swing up like this and create a new low, you put your stop loss above it, right? Now we're right here. So your take profit should be in the, or your stop loss should be in the profit zone for sure, if you're in on this. But yeah, once these fail, it's the same reason why you'd want to begin a short is the reason why you would want to close your long. So this is the momentum that you'd follow here. And the confluence with this loss of momentum, we got the confirmation, right, on this double top. So there's a lot of confluence telling you that things are about to go down. So if you're ever doubting something, you could always message me as well in the Discord, and I'll let you know if I would take that trade, and if I would, then you can jump in on it. Not financial advice, of course, but you guys know me. I'll leave that on there just in case you guys want to learn from it. It's about the short. Oh yeah. Okay. And it's still dropping hard, and Cardano has a lot of Bitcoin liquidity, so when Bitcoin drops, you can almost just go to the chart and just know that it's dropping with it. Cool. All right. Anything else you guys want to look at? Any opportunities that you guys are spotting? Matic, can you look at Matic? Yeah. You can look at Polygon. Oof. Well, okay. Well, Matic's been dropping. Yeah, it's been weak ever since it hit its macro resistance, which is understandable. This is a pretty significant reaction. So this is the daily chart that I'm looking at right now. And this is the downtrending resistance that we're watching. It's getting squeezed. It's eventually going to have to do a giant move soon. But we lost this momentum. In confluence of the lost momentum, we had a head and shoulders. We dropped back down, built support off this previous area of support in the past, right? Reacted off of that, started building more broad momentum after we got a bounce here, and we just lost it recently. So we're likely going to head back down to this local support at 72.87 for Matic, and if you're looking for a bigger short, which would probably come in confluence with Bitcoin losing 40,000. So if you see a loss at this support level, Bitcoin's likely going to be losing 40,000 as support at the same time. And you want to wait for it to retest this local support as resistance, create a lower low, enter during that lower low, put your stop loss above that confirmation bounce. And then the technical target for the drop will be pretty significant. Yeah, it's saying 55 cents. But I don't know if we'll get there, guys. I don't know if it'll drop that far. So just be reactional and look to the left, basically, where you see historical levels of resistance and support, like this, for example. And see if that could potentially act as support along the way down too. And you can kind of use historical price action as well to tell like if something like this would occur, like where you'd see a support bounce. It kind of helps you with your FOMO or FUD, whatever you want to call it, seeing that there's a local support level that will likely create a bounce. And if it gets that lower low, then they can use that correlation to say, okay, we lost support. We had a confirmation of this double top. We're definitely going down. And you can get a safer trade as a result because confirmation bounces provide you a good guard to your stop loss. And that's why I'm a confirmation trader. I prefer trading the confirmation than I do the breakout because your win rate is higher and your risk is always usually better. BNB seems to give... yeah, BNB has been pretty strong. Let's pull that up, actually. Before we go to BNB, is there any more questions about... Let's go in the lower time frames really quick for this. Yeah, we tried to double bottom recover, it looks like. We even got a little bit of a confirmation here, but you would ignore confirmation like that if it's face-to-face with this resistance, so you'd have to wait for a little bit of, a higher close. And then you would find out whether or not the risk-to-reward ratio is worth it at that point. But yeah, we got that confirmation rejection. This would be the candle you would enter a short on. So if you're in on a short, hopefully you got in around here. That'd be the good confirmation. You had your stop loss here. Then you can move it here now. But we don't have anything yet to validate a good spot, but you could always bring it down lower if you want. Like right here is a good spot too. But yeah, 72.87's likely where it's headed. All right, we can go to B&B now. Are you guys still in that B&B trade from yesterday? Could still be in it. We now have a new spot for our stop loss, looks like. So this is the momentum I'm watching right here. This uptrending support. And I was watching, you know, the evolving momentum here. See how to react. But we just kind of like flatlined, so there was not really a reason to get out. This is kind of unique behavior. So this must have been a very, very strong buy wall that would create something like this. There must have been a really large limit buy order here, and it was just preventing the price action going down further. And this crazy reaction to a break of this young downtrending resistance here causes a skyrocket. And we got back above. Yeah, right now we're dancing above this structural POC here. So your stop loss could have been moved from here to here, and now my current stop loss is at 48.20, like 48.5, but we could probably move it up a little bit further. So like 49.30. It doesn't sound like much of a difference, but when you're trading with a lot of funds, that could be the difference between like $300 in profits. Or some of you guys like using a lot of leverage too. You fully closed? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm still in on this one. But it's looking like it's trying to double top. So it looks like it's getting close to the end of this run. But you can stay in it until the loss of this momentum, or you can stay in it until we close below this neckline of this double top structure. Cool. What we got? What are your thoughts on Litecoin? It looks like it's losing a lot of value compared to Bitcoin. We can look at Litecoin too. So what's the order right now? We have Litecoin and ICP after. All right, cool. So we can look at Litecoin first. Yeah, Litecoin wasn't a... It was a quick move. We didn't stay in it for very long. Well, at least I didn't stay in it for very long. Once we lost this momentum, I used it kind of as an excuse to take some profits because I was handling a lot of trades at the same time. So I took that and we kind of created this. We have a rounded top here. We lost the support level here on this candle, and we're starting to come down. Yeah, I don't think it'll drop as harshly. Like percentage value, yeah, it's probably going to drop further than Bitcoin. We have, I'm expecting for it to act as support around 69.35. Yeah, we have a lot of historical support here. So I'm just going to draw a horizontal line. So if any of you guys are using my charts, you can watch that reaction. Depending if you're on a short or not. If you're in a short, yeah, this is where I'll be watching right here, guys. See how it reacts to that. We have pretty steep momentum right now, so I wouldn't be drawing any momentum just yet. We have broad momentum here, but that's not safe. Basically, we couldn't combat like our target was this 50 EMA on the daily. We couldn't beat past it. And I was hoping that we could, so we could end up, you know, getting in on this more macro move here, breaking this downtrending resistance, and then eventually breaking this resistance. But it's probably going to hold off until, like, what do we have left on this? With the squeeze to the apex, 130. Okay, so I'm expecting that Litecoin's likely going to have its big move in like, March, when the halving event happens for Bitcoin. Litecoin already had its halving event right around here, around this time period. I remember trading it. There's a bullish reaction off of it. So we traded off the bullish reaction, but it didn't go as nearly as high as we would hope for. But we got in and out pretty quickly on that. I'm not sure if you guys remember that call that we did together. Let's see. But yeah, that's pretty much it here for Litecoin. We have this broad momentum, but like right here, this is daily support. It held on to it yesterday. Tried to develop a hammer candle here, but we couldn't close back above the 50 daily EMA. We'll see if it bounces here again and get a recovery. And that would create a double bottom kind of behavior, and that a double bottom would definitely give us enough momentum to break this resistance. So basically, price action came here. Maybe we'll get a bounce off of this, and then when we break this neckline here, that would be a great move. We could trade off of that for sure. But that would depend on Bitcoin honoring its support level and confluence with that. Dash. Okay, so we're gonna look at any more questions, Dorda, about Litecoin before we move on to ICP, and then we're gonna go to Dash. All right, well, I will pull up Dash while we wait for a response. So our primary chart, yep, okay. So Dash, probably charted Dash before. Oh, it's been a while. Oh, Dash is in price discovery. Huh. Just trying to recover. I'm gonna clear this chart. I'm gonna start over on this chart because we haven't traded in a while and price actions developed. It looks like we traded off of this inverse head and shoulders here, and then we had this uptrending momentum. Once it failed, we probably got out. And then we had bearish continuation, continuation here. All right, let's clear this chart. Start over. This is already broken, eh? Yep. Cool. So what I'm doing right now, for those who might not know, I'm basically looking for as many horizontal touch points as I possibly can, whether it be support or resistance, because it will act as support and resistance again in the future. So if we were ever entering any trades, whether it be short-term or long-term, we could use these, use this data to tell us to prepare for a negative reaction. We might have to escape the market early, kind of thing. And we got this uptrending momentum on the daily that is looking like it's failing. But we have an inverted head and shoulders behavior here too. So let's see if it recovers or not. Surprising to see Dash in price discovery still. Okay. I think that's it for here. And we're going to pull the fixed range from this drop to where we are now. It's got the same kind of behavior as Litecoin. It's got this uptrending daily momentum, right? This is the uptrend daily momentum here. This is the lower time frames. So if I go to the daily, you'll see what I mean. Hammer recovery, or attempted hammer recovery. And same thing with Dash. Attempted hammer recovery. But rather than the 50 EMA, weighing things down, keeping us from breaking through, it's the point of control that kept it from moving. And I'm sure if I put the 50 on here, it'd probably be the same story. So let's go to here and let's get these all lined up. So I'm anticipating for support. If we get the candle close on the daily below this uptrending momentum, we could drop first hurdle we need to break through is here at 29.62. If we get a close below that, we'll get a continuation, likely down to 28.03. I'm going to anticipate a support bounce around here. This is the value area low for the structural area. So we can anticipate some support here. Maybe we'll get a reversal off of this. But overall, even though, Dash isn't looking too healthy, it is the investor confidence of this going and dropping is dwindling because the volume is dropping. When the volume drops, as this price action drops, you can anticipate a reversal and it presents itself as a falling wedge. So when this breaks to the upside, the technical target is the top of the structure. But I'll be watching 76, 86. I'm a more conservative trader, so if I see a really strong level of historical support and resistance, I usually use that as my target rather than using just the structural target. So I'll be looking at 76, 86 if we break this downtrending resistance, but it's going to be a little while. It's going to be a few months before that happens. If we go into lower time frames, let's see what we can get. Lower time frames, we've got this downtrending resistance here. I'm going to change this to green. So what I would like to see for a good long position is 29.62 to remain honored as support. And then we eventually bounce and break this and get right back above this momentum here. Is there any questions about Dash that you need help with? Are you in a short-term trade or anything like that? Or are you just curious about where it's headed? And it's going to be bearish until eventually it breaks this structure, basically, the macro structure. It's just like Bitcoin's falling wedge. When we broke that, we had a support bounce around 16,000 and we broke the downtrending resistance around 20. And then we just, now we're at 40. So in this technical target is the top of its formation, which is like 60, like 69,000. But I'm watching 48,000 as my target for that macro structure, because that's the gold pocket of the entire macro structure. And if history repeats, just like the last two cycles, the golden pocket usually ends a really strong relief rally. I have an entry at 30.47. All right, so let's pull that up. Let's change this to yellow so we know it's about you. So 30.46. Are you in a long or a short? If you're in a long, you're jumping in way too early. If you're in a short, you're jumping in late. So this is what I'd, But we're basically what we were talking about before. It's either this for a more longer term move, like basically a swing trade is what this will be. A break of this downtrending resistance will be a swing trade. It can be a multi-day trade. If you want a shorter term trade, you'd be looking for this break in confluence with the support bounce and maybe a reversal pattern. And then we would watch this resistance as the limitation for your take profit. So it'll be a more shorter term trade. In and out pretty quick. And based on how fast it pumps from here to here, if we maintain the same momentum, yeah, it'll be roughly around like 10 to 20 hours before it hit the top of the structure if we got a support bounce. So you're in a long. Are you a martingale trader? Because if you're a martingale trader, this could be good. First entry. But I'd be careful, man. You entered like a little bit too early. You need to actually. Nothing's been revealed to us that support's being honored. I don't want you getting burned. And the drawback fear that I have for you is this: about 2.28% before we see a strong bounce reaction again. So that's just the drawback that you have to be prepared for if you're in a long without a stop loss or something like that. Nice ascending triangle. Yeah, man. We can look at ICP next, and then we can look at ZGS's question there. ICP. If we want to circle back on Dash, just let me know, man. I think I have it in my list, don't I? Maybe not. I'll add this to my list. If it wants to load. There we go. You have a stop loss at 29.63. So right above the support. Do we have any signs of bullish divergence for you so that doesn't happen? Not yet. Alright, just be careful, bro. We got ICP. Yeah, we can look at that. Every time I look at ICP, I get reminded about my lesson that I learned about investing in ICOs. Don't invest in ICOs. Okay, this is the 15-minute. Okay. Oh, we have no choice but to go to 15. We can get rid of this noise now. There's not really much here anyways. So we got some negative space away from the uptrending momentum. That's a sign that we might have a strong pullback. You ever heard that saying, like the faster it pumps, the harder it falls kind of thing? It's like when it deviates away from uptrending momentum like this, it usually falls back down to it at some point. Or we consolidate until we retest it, and then the big move happens. But we basically just hit this descending channel target here. It's the top of the structure. So now we are making a decision of whether or not we want to continue or drop. We're trying to build a pennant. We have a neckline support bounce here. The way the market's going right now, I think it's more likely for this to act as a double top. But it has that pennant behavior, so this is the hourly time frame that I'm on right now. So we lose this support. Luckily we're getting one of those bounce reactions right here. When that happens, it's insanely common with double tops to have like a small bounce reaction. And you can use them as your stop loss guard when we get that lower low. And sometimes I usually actually like taking these as a breakout trade because we have that stop loss guard, the invalidation point's so close. So just having a candle close below this on the hourly is enough for me to want to enter a short. If we instead just went straight down and then came up and retest this and got the lower low, the crappy part about these situations is it eats up your potential reward for this trade. But when you have the bounce right before the double top, it doesn't take away that reward. And you have a pretty easy invalidation point and a more protection for your stop loss. Making a change of character breaks that neckline. Exactly, yeah. Formations will tell you the same story as the market structure. With change of character and break of structure, it's the same kind of story, it's just told differently. So yeah, the short position I would prepare for something like this is right now be right above this wick. Maybe the lower time frames would give us a better... Nah, it'd still be about, yeah, right above that wick. And you'd be risking to lose 5.7% to gain about 15%. So that's good risk to reward ratio. But that's of course assuming the candle closes exactly where this entry would be. So you'd want to make sure that the candle would close here, roughly around here on the hourly, or a little bit closer up. Sometimes getting below these wicks will help build confidence with your trade direction too, though. All right. So that's that. And we have more. I think it would actually exceed this target because there's no volume here. I think the next volume point is around 753. So we could exceed past the target and maybe even go all the way down to this uptrending daily momentum here. Let's see how it plays out, but one formation at a time. And this one says that, yeah, we're likely going down. Good call on this. I'm actually going to save this because it might be a good trade opportunity for us to take in the community. What else we got? ICP, we've done Dash. LDO and IVL. Please and thank you. Okay, sounds good. All right, let's I'm gonna mark this. Screenshot this really quick. ICP. Do we have an ICP emote yet? No. Cool. Thanks for bringing that one up. Let's find, let's look into the other two now. Trying to find it in the, okay, LDO is what you said. Binance is probably the best bet. Let's go the daily first because I'm pretty confident I never tried this before. Oh, look at that. It's not bad. Now, I don't know anything about LDO. If there's a burn structure or a minting structure, I'm not aware of. But you guys probably heard me spam this a million times. Just if you don't know, you got to make sure you look up whether or not the asset you trade has a burning or minting schedule. Pay attention to it because on burn days it's usually bullish, it so it could conflict with any bearish trade ideas that you have. So just make sure your trade idea, your setup correlates with the burning or minting schedule. Minting schedules usually are based on emissions, so they're continuous, but burning schedules are usually set to a certain day. It all depends on the asset, of course. Like a Pancake Swap, for example, is every Friday. I believe Uniswap is the same thing. But based on this price behavior, it does not look like they have any friction in their price action that tells us that there's a lot of minting and emissions. So yeah, so LDO just recently got rejected off of downtrending resistance. This is the daily chart, so it's a pretty significant level that we have to watch. Right, and we got it confirmed right here, and it's likely headed down to this uptrending support at 169 roughly. You can watch this downtrending momentum here, and what you would want to wait for in confluence with the support bounce is a break of this downtrending momentum, and then you can target the top side here. And this actually, because we're so close to the apex point right here, this could be an anticipation trade, meaning you can long off the support once it's honored and then watch this resistance. If we end up breaking it, then you have the earlier entry here, whereas most people will be trying to enter around here. It's got several days before we even reach that support, unless we go straight down really quick. But it's something definitely we would want to prepare for. And what would the upside target be? It's a good question too. Watch this level for sure. I want to pull the fixed. I know the fixed is kind of pointless on this. Right here to here. So we can look at the macro value areas. Yeah, we got good confluence with the value area low here. And we lost support here. We lost the point of control. And then when we had the break to the upside, now this will likely develop in a few months, when this actually, about a month or so before this breaks out. But when it does, we're going to have a behavior likely seeing us use value area high as resistance, bring us back down, and we get that confirmation bounce on this. So an anticipation trade would probably be best, because the drawdown on something like that would be pretty big, about 12%. When you have big drawdowns, it kind of forces you to use a smaller amount of capital. And so if you get a safer trade with a tighter stop loss, you can use more capital, because your stop loss, when it gets hit, you'll be risking the same amount than you would with the 12% drawdown, but you'll be able to add more capital. If you're using risk management properly, of course. But you can be an incredible trader, but if you don't have good risk management, then it means all that skill means nothing. I want to go home and trade with you. Here, yeah. How you doing, Brian? You working today, man? So that's a good setup. I might watch this one too. I gotta put that on my watch list. It's a good one. Yeah, another reason why I like doing these lives, when you guys bring up these assets, some of them have like incredibly good setups. It's like you're passing, it's like a tip. Think of it like you're tipping me. Office meeting. Ooh, brutal. Are they like Michael Scott's office meetings? Or are they just like, let's look at this, you know, whiteboard kind of crap? IVL was the next one. Okay. Bybit's everywhere. And Bybit has incredibly good reserves and liquidity, so we'll probably look at the Bybit chart. We'll do it on spot. BitGet has really good reserves too. Oh, dude. Okay, maybe we'll look at a different... There's no dinosaur here. So if you see a dinosaur over here, that means it's like the chart with the most history. So that's creation. Might look that up, right? It's IRL? Oh, IV. I wrote that wrong. VL. Alright. No, that's right. Man. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. That's better. There we go. Okay. There's actual analysis we can do on this. Oh, it wants to double bottom. That's nuts. Yeah, there's that little dinosaur I was talking about right here. And that tells you that it's got all the history of the asset's price action. Really strong support at 38.22. Zoom in on the daily really quick here. I just want to see where the full bodies are. So right about here. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's perfect confluence. So you want to look for the full bodies, not just the wicks. The wicks are important to look at, but the bodies is where price action was accepted. So they're more relevant and more honored as support and resistance in the future. You can see we had how to act as strong resistance here until eventually we broke past it. And we had to act as support here. Very cool. But the wicks are important to look at because that's where usually liquidity lies, right? So we got to watch that too. For those short-term traders out there. We got... Yeah, it's trying, man. We had really steep momentum since we had the support bounce in this demand zone. And then we had evolving momentum here. Yeah. So that's the next support level we gotta watch. I would like for this not to veer off too far away from this neckline. I want to pull the fixed on this too, so we get the structural value area. Yeah, it's right off of where we got this line here. We can delete that now. And we pretty much have it spot on. We'll adjust it a tiny bit. So yeah, we're at the value area high of this macro structure, which normally screams short, short, short. But we haven't got acceptance back inside the value area, and we will once we have a candle closed back inside here on the daily. So once we get that candle closed down here, we're likely going to drop right down to 71.86 again. And then we'd watch for a support bounce around there. And depending on how price action behaves along the way down, we might see a falling wedge stick. These low market cap stuff though, it doesn't take very much money to move it. This price tag's pretty high. Must have pretty low supply for it to move like this. Yeah, must have, yeah, pretty low supply. You can take a look at that together if you want. And that's the technical 236. It's pretty bizarre. So basically more than double its current market cap just from this one move. But it would make sense for it to have a bit of a cool down with a falling wedge kind of behavior after pumping like this from $38. Okay, once we get that kind of close here, watch 71.86 as the drop. And we can look at the hourly time frame to see what we have for evolving momentum here. If we get support bounce off of this value area high, this is the daily trend line that we're looking at here. If we get a bounce off of this and a break of this downtrending resistance, then we can potentially have a short-term long. Is there anything about IVL that you, or ILV that you need to go over? Are you going to trade or anything like that? Or you just want to, you're curious about its long-term macro setup? Very low supply. Okay, yeah, I was right on that then. Super low supply. And for long-term trades low. Okay, gotcha. Double bottom on Bitcoin 5-minute time frame. 5 minutes not gonna be that impactful, but we can look at it. So this is the hourly, bounce off the POC. Yeah, it's already hit its target, looks like. Or it's close to. Yeah, I think it's going to drag its feet until we meet this. What else we got? We got LDO, okay, cool. We're caught up here. HNT and Bonk. Bonk on Bybit. Bonk wants reverse. Alright, this isn't relevant anymore. So we'll just use this trend line for this move. So Bonk has been going bonkers. I think this is nuts. It's straight up. Are we in log? Yeah, we are. Okay. So, yeah, straight up. And it veered away from the momentum. And then we broke evolving momentum here. And when we break evolving momentum, you normally return to the broad momentum. So our drawback fear, if I remember, yeah, 32%. So it's gonna just probably gonna keep bleeding along the way down. Doesn't mean you can't do some trades within this, because the price gap is like 20% between the support and the resistance channel here. So you can make really good money trading within this structure. But when we ultimately get back here, if you find yourself, let's say we bounce up here again, we maintain the same behavior that we got going on, and we revisit this daily support and we break this downtrending momentum, I would definitely want to try to get on a long when we break momentum, because a support bounce off the daily momentum like this would likely get us enough buy pressure to break this downtrending resistance, and you can get yourself in a really good position early for that kind of move. And this asset looks stupid easy to trade while we're in this structure. We got that and this here. So the daily, we try to sync it with the wick so it'll correlate with the lower time frames as well. Let's see if I can show you an example of what I mean by that. So I did full body. I'm going to make this one dashed. So this is the full body one, and this is the wick one. So if I were to go to lower time frames, you'll notice that the full body one will be cut through the price action in the lower time frames, because what's a wick in the higher time frames will be an actual candle close in the lower time frames, and that's what helps you identify which time frame you should honor for a trade, like for your trend line. If you're trying to validate which kind of trend line you should use, you should try to sync it with the time frame you're trading off of. So let's get rid of that. But the larger the time frame, the more respected it is. You have more participants in a larger time frame, so you can get more volume back behind your move. So we're kind of just holding off of this horizontal support level here. And if we pull up the fixed for the structure, since the moment we start building it, so from this point on, you're at the value area low. So we might not meet this downtrending resistance, or support, sorry. This downtrending support. We might actually get the break soon. Bonk, what, do you know what network is built off of? Should probably look that up. Oh, look at that. It's like they hear us talking. It's trending right now. Solana. Bonk sounds like something you'd see on the Binance chain. But I guess it's built on Solana. Bonk is Sol Network. Alright, cool. And you can tell, by the way, which network you can find them on by looking at their contract, their primary contract. It shows here at Solana here on the left. Well, you can't see it. My face is in the way. Right here. Alright, so the stars are kind of aligning for along here soon. So we're at the value area low. We just need a break of this downtrending momentum here. My drawback fear would be the fact that we're having a downtrending support level. So if we break this, I would actually be hesitant to entering until we broke not just the downtrending momentum, but also this here. So we get that change of character, double bottom structure as well. That'll be enough for a long. And then you target the point of control first. Maybe take half off the table depending on how it reacts to it. And then we'd be targeting the downtrending resistance again. We had tons of warnings that this was going to go down too. Like, look at that. When we came up, we got rejected with the POC. Got rejected off of the value area high and the downtrending resistance. And then we built a head and shoulders. And we already hit the head and shoulders technical target. Right about here. So people are taking profits off of that move. We're just going to start seeing reversal. But none of this is validated. You know, all I'm saying here is not validated until it actually happens, right? So we need to have the candle close above this first before thinking about entering along. Because it could still just go down and then break around here. Any other questions about Bonk? GROK. Okay, we'll look at, we have H bar first, and we've got, is that it? Just H bar? And TIA. Never heard of TIA either. H bar is great though. It's hard to call it a cryptocurrency, but it's got the same behavior. It's technically not a cryptocurrency. I might set an alarm so we don't miss it on this. Once per bar close, so that would mean we get the alarm when a candle closes above it. So we don't have to look once it gets touched, right? Because it can get touched and then still get rejected and waste your time. But sometimes you would want to just do the only once thingy if you are needing time to get to your desktop or something. There we go. I should probably screenshot this too. Let's get the long position tool set up. And this is our 1 to 2 based on the current structure. We might be able to move our stop loss up closer, but right now that's what we got. Cool. And let's watch, put this on the watch list too. Alright, what was next on the list? We had sorry, just gotta read through the chat. TIA. Okay, TIA. Is this Celestia? Let's go with Binance. Let's go with the daily chart. Okay, so we got a young one here. And it looks like it's losing momentum. Sync it with the full band. All right, let's look at the hourly now. All right, confluence with the loss of momentum, we've got a massive head and shoulders. Okay, so yeah, what we need to wait for this asset, we got a little bit of an uptrending support zone there too. So based on this price action, we're likely going to have, if we break this support level, bounce off of this, bring us back up to the uptrending support to act as resistance for our confirmation. And then just enter on the confirmation, put your stop loss above the confirmation. If you don't get one, I think we will get one because of the behavior of, you know, this point here. We got some horizontal support being formed. So we should get a confirmation bounce. It shouldn't just be a straight down kind of behavior. We actually have some volume around here. And then we'd enter a short, and our target would be here at 868. But that measurable target might not be hit because of this. We have relatively strong support here at 918. So we'll mark this, but I don't know if this will be hit. It'd still be a really good risk to reward ratio, assuming we got the confirmation bounce. If we don't get the confirmation bounce, then I would recommend using the average true range, because putting your stop loss above this is a pretty steep. Like by the time you are able to enter, that's 21%. That's insane. Blah. Yeah. So you'd either have to use the average true range. And if you don't know how the average true range works, basically, this is it here. It takes the data from the previous 14 candles, takes the volume from that, and then creates this trend line based on its average of the 14 candles. So it reduces your chances of being stop hit by about 65%. So as price action develops, and more candles close, this is going to go down further and further and give you a safer stop loss suggestion. So we'll see how that reacts. If you don't know how to find this one, just type in average true range, and it'll be this one here. Average true range trailing stops collared by H. Potter. And once you get that one, the default settings aren't set up to screw you over like most indicators are, so you can leave them as default. But that's what you'll get. Any other questions about TIA before we move on? Well, AVAX is breaking, so we gotta look at AVAX really quick. All right. You gotta stop making. I think this is our most recent one. Did I just pull up a Cardano? No, I did not. This is the AVAX chart. Oh, Kyle. Bro. I got the solution for this. We will just go. Oh, I see what you see by breaking. Okay. Inverted head and shoulders. We can close that. It's not relevant anymore. What's Bitcoin's behavior? It's breaking, evolving, but well, it's not yet. And it's retesting this resistance again. So we gotta watch how that could correlate with AVAX's price action. But we're checking off a lot of boxes. We just pull the value area for the structural zone. Might be able to get a trade in. Point controls on the high side. And we're at the POC for this local area here. whenever you see these 2 points in the fixed range, this is called double distribution. And typically what ends up happening is we have a value between them, and price action will move quickly between them and then consolidate when we're at them. So let's change this to blue. So we have the confluence of it bouncing off of the bottom distribution zones POC, and confluence with this inverted head and shoulders on a much lower time frames, like 5 minute, right here. Right, and this was the candle that closed above it. It's the break. What I'd want to see is how it reacts to the current resistance that we're at right now. So we're at local resistance here. If we get a pullback and then create a higher high, you know, and create the higher high, that'd be a great entry. The pullback might not be that steep, but if we instead get acceptance in here, it might be worth entering. And so far we have indecision. Whenever you see like a doji candle, that represents indecision. And sometimes in the lower time frames, a doji would actually be a confirmation too. So we're on the 5. We're already on the lower time frames. So well, let's give this a couple minutes. The downside, the way I trade, sometimes it will take away opportunities. Like if this closed inside here, and if I decide to wait for the pullback and it closed in here instead, then I might miss out on that opportunity. But my opportunities are safer because I'll wait for a good place for my stop loss to be guarded. What does this look like on the 15? Yeah, if we get that. The 15-minute candle closes in 50 seconds. Alright, I'm going to move this chart. Yeah, I got it to the far right, so we'll keep an eye on it. Entering now would just be FOMO, honestly. There's no safe way to trade this. There's no stop loss guard. Maybe here, but you'd be targeting here as our first target, 40.29. So if you got in on the break, then good job if you're a breakout trader. If you got in on the break, good job. Just watch 40.29 as your target and see how it reacts to this. Already stole $5 from AVAX. Good job. Yeah. Were you risking to lose like $2? Okay, so we'll give this one time. I might be entering this soon. If we get a good stop loss guard, I'll probably be jumping in with you. The target should be around 40.29. Even if we pulled back to this point of control here and got the higher high here, I'll jump in on that, on the continuation. And then target here, then I would have a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, so I can risk to lose, you know, risk to gain 2 times more than what I'm willing to lose. You got your stop loss right over the right shoulder. Yeah, if you got the breakout, you would have a good stop loss guard. Entering, for me to enter here, just be FOMO. I just risking too much. I'm basically risking to lose the same amount that I'm, or probably less, risking to lose more than I'm willing to gain. For AVAX, we are looking at the right shoulder to develop. Oh, you're looking at this as potential inverse head and shoulders here. That's definitely possible. But we were actually talking about the lower time frame one here. And it broke out in confluence with this downturn momentum. We had invert. This is a lot like what happened yesterday. Actually, we all found like 4 different setups that almost looked identical, other than Bitcoin's. Invert head and shoulders, break of downturning momentum. We entered on it. And we just made a crap ton of money. But now we're just in this scenario. If you didn't get in here, I haven't been able to get in. So I'm looking for a continuation. So maybe a break of this downtrending resistance here. If we got a pullback, I can use the pullback as a stop loss guard. And we can target the top here. And maybe we'll build, if we got a rejection here and came back down to the POC, we can build a larger inverted head shoulders that we can trade off as well. So we'll leave that out. I'll give it about 20 minutes. It looks like it's just going to keep going up. Bitcoin is getting close to that. What was the other one that we wanted to look at? H-bar was the next one, I believe. Let's look at H-bar. H-bar is incredibly easy to mine. So if you guys are interested in mining, I would check out H-bar. Their technology that's coming out is pretty cool. I'm really interested in their nano contracts. Basically, you can be anybody and just toggle a few things. Like, I want this in the contract, I want that in the contract, I want this in the contract, and then it will mint the contract based on those specifications, and then you're good. You got your own smart contract for your business or a cryptocurrency. The way it's built, though, it's technically not the same as a cryptocurrency. It's kind of unique. Oh man, it definitely wants to pump. So kind of like what we were just talking about with AVAX. You know, we had this inverted head and shoulders. We have the left shoulder developed already here, and a right shoulder that could potentially be developed here for a larger inverted head and shoulders. H-bar's basically already done that. So we got the, my bad. We got the micro inverted head and shoulders here, and then we got the larger one here. Yeah, one thing I like to see is like a bunch of double bottom structures inside of a double bottom structure, and it's not common that you see an inverted head and shoulders create a larger inverted head shoulders like this. Normally you need to have a really steep drop. And this drop isn't that steep. So for this, we want to watch horizontal resistance. Got a crazy technical target with equal highs. Zoom in on the daily. I don't think I've charted this on the daily in a while. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for this double bottom for a while, I guess. But when we lost this momentum, I stopped looking at the charts. So yeah, that inverted head and shoulders we're seeing could be the conduit to bring it to its neckline and the technical targets for the neckline break. So we need this could take a few weeks to play out, but a break above this local resistance, have it act as support, get that higher high, jump in on there, and you'd ride this for probably a couple months to 2273. Well, that's the technical target, but we got to watch. I got all these levels mapped out already, preparing for a rejection prior to the target. Looking good. We can get rid of some of this noise. That was a good move. Can update that too. I'm trying to bounce off this range. And this inverted head and shoulders, it's going to be that confirmation bounce off the range. So yeah, this is going to be an incredible move too, honestly. This is winding up for a good move. And we got long position will start around here. Stop loss be roughly around here right now, based on the current price action, and we'd be risking to lose about 3.5% to gain about 9%. However, if we, create the higher high and use this resistance as support, we could meet that neckline resistance up here at 933. I would try to hold on the position as long as you can. Unless you have a formation, let's say a head, like not an inverted head and shoulders, but a regular head and shoulders, give you a measurable target that brings you like basically back to your entry, then you get out and just wait for a new setup. But yeah, good eye on this one. This one looks great. Is there any questions about H-bar that you're concerned about? Peace, Kyle. It's okay, crap. Hey, how you doing, man? It's also fast and reliable. Yeah, it's dirt cheap to move around. I think it might be free on H-bar. I don't remember. It's super fast. You don't need to be a developer to build on it, which is kind of cool too. You should be, but you don't need to be. Can you explain briefly what the average true range, where to set up a stop loss for short or long? Yeah, we can do that. Let's do it on this. Use this example here. So the average true range normally is an oscillator like this, the RSI. And before, back in the day, you had to whip out a calculator to calculate the average. You'd have to look at the average volatility of the previous candles and calculate where your stop loss would be after the math is all set up. And that's just time consuming unless you're not a day trader, but like a swing trader or like a longer term investor. When you're a day trader and you have to do things really quickly, it sucks. So you get a tool like this one and you see how it shifts from red to green. Based on the previous candles, it can estimate what kind of direction you should be trading. So right now it's suggesting that you should be trading on the long side because it's green. And that could be conflicting if you are someone who's trading on the super short-term trades. It might not be adapted to your setup. So if you're range trading within this area and you're using the average true range on the 15-minute time frame, it's only going to tell you where to put your stop loss for longs. So you might have to go in a lower time frame so it adapts to that time frame because it's going to be looking at the previous 14 candles for that time frame. So it gives you like a stop loss suggestion. I only normally use it if there's no price action that suggests where I should put my stop loss, because you can use like swing lows for your longs or swing highs for your shorts, but sometimes you don't get really concrete price action to tell you where you should put your stop loss. So the average true range is what I'd fall back onto during those kind of scenarios. And the way I trade, those scenarios are intensely rare. Like you probably only see me use the average true range like 1 in every 40 to 50 trades. But for beginners, it's a really great tool. And if you are someone who has to use the average true range often, then you should be in the stage of your trading where you're only trading with like $100 to try to figure out the ropes. But yeah, so this, if we got the candle close above this horizontal resistance on, let's say, the 15-minute time frame, I would put my stop loss here. And the good thing about the average true range is it will develop and follow the price action. So you can move your stop loss to correlate with the average true range. So you're protecting more and more of your capital as price action develops. So it's kind of like a trailing stop loss tool in that sense. We actually have one built for you guys in Passive AI. So if you're a member of InvestorShare, you can connect it to your exchange. And if you had to go to sleep, for example, and you can't watch the charts to trail your stop loss, you can like turn it on and then it will trail the price action for you, and it'll close as soon as we get a candle close below it. It won't close. We have it programmed so it won't close if it just comes down and wicks and touches it. It will close only if a full body candle closes below it, which is when the average true range will adapt and change directions like it did here. Right? Does that make sense? So if you're like trading off this double top, put your stop loss here, and you just let it trail until eventually a candle closes above it. You close that trade, stop loss here, unless if you still need an excuse to find a reason to enter a trade before jumping in, obviously. But you use this for the confluence of where to put your stop loss, kind of thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, it looks like you understand. But it's super easy to understand once you. We have a lesson on it in the courses if you jumped in on that yet. But yeah, I love this tool. But yeah, I want to watch HBAR too, so I'm putting that in my watchtower too. Watching HBAR. I need an excuse to buy HBAR, so this could be it. I need a... Normally when I invest for long-term holds, I need a break of macro resistance. So this could be a conduit for an early entry for this macro resistance break. Just like with Chainlink, when we bought it at like $7, we jumped in on a flag formation that had the measurable target to exceed past like the macro resistance. So we got in early rather than waiting for the resistance to break. We got an early entry, and then we'd react to the resistance and close if we had to. But so far, so good. We're still in that trade. We doubled our money. My goal on that is like $32. But it's up to the market. I truly believe that's going to go to the hundreds, though, once the true rally starts. TRB going hard. Okay, I guess we're looking at TRB too. Am I missing anyone? We got... just comment below if you... if I missed your asset, if you want me to look at something else. All right, let's go to TRB and see what it's doing. And we also want to look at AVAX. All right, we're at that. Awesome job on that inverted head and shoulders, man. So we're at this level of resistance that I'm concerned about. Hopefully we break past that too. But we got to look at this as well as potential bounce off of this downtrending resistance here. Right? If we create that higher high, not only will it confirm a larger macro break, a bounce off of this, we'd also confirm an ascending double bottom. And in the higher time frames, that would result in bullish divergence. Yeah. It hasn't printed yet, but we're starting to build it. cool. Okay. I think this is already on my watch list, but I'm going to add it just in case. I think this one's going to be part of my portfolio. Do you think there will be another large pullback for Bitcoin? I am anticipating a pullback if we lose 40,000 as support. Here, we were talked about at the beginning of the stream, and yesterday during the YouTube video post, if we got the break above here, I was worried about this daily uptrending momentum acting as resistance, and it did. It acted as really strong resistance. And this is the momentum that we've been following since October, right? And we just had it act as resistance here. So normally as a warning sign that we're going to have a larger pullback, but we can't validate it yet until we lose this horizontal support here at 40,000. If we lose 40,800, sorry, I'm bouncing around the screen like this. If we lose this level here, and we have it act as resistance, and we confirm a lower low, we jump in on short on that, and it would likely go down to 38,900 is the level that I'm watching, if we lose that. But we could instead, we are in the PM session for the New York session here, and they love to wipe out liquidity before continuing on a large pump, right? You ever hear that saying, like people complaining about you entered along, they stopped, hit me, and then it went the direction that I wanted to go? This is like that kind of scenario where they hunt for liquidity before potentially pumping to the larger upside. But the like 48K would be a target if maybe we get a close above this. We had the hurdle past 44.6, but this could act as a confirmation bounce. Just gotta see how it behaves first to this resistance. So those are two scenarios. So if A happens, we do A. If B happens, we do B. And if C happens, we do nothing. The lines are killing. Oh, yeah, my Bitcoin chart's a bit of a mess. If you go to my daily Bitcoin chart, it's pure chaos. It's so noisy. I know I need to reset this one. But like some of these people in my community have access to this chart, and some people like to dissect stuff that I've done in the past because you can see what kind of formations I trade off of. Like this is a good one for teaching people about parabolic curves, and when to react off of them. Stuff like there's a lot to this chart, and these green boxes are when I do my macro positions. Like this is when I bought 40 Bitcoin. This is when I sold all my Bitcoin here. And this is like one of the longest trades I've ever done here. Look at it, just follow that momentum all the way up. It's bizarre. And I'd started trading around here. Right before the COVID crash, basically. But I should probably clear this chart. It's a bit noisy. Don't reset the chart. Okay, I won't reset the chart. Yeah. We only look at this chart for short-term price action anyways, so it's not... We'd have a cleaner chart for more macro stuff. Okay, so what did I miss? Something TRB. We need to look at TRB. TRB needs to cool down a bit. It double bottomed. A good confirmation bounce. Okay. So, if you are in on this, Brian, you're the one that brought it up, so you might be in on it. you probably got in either probably during this double bottom retest. So this is we had the breakout here. So a breakout trader would have entered here and would have their stop loss either here or here. A confirmation trader would wait and be as patient as possible in case things went down and didn't confirm this neckline as support. And you would enter on this candle here when we confirmed the higher high. And then you'd ride it to the technical target and you'd be able to have your stop loss closer right about here. So sometimes it's like people think about confirmation trading in a negative way sometimes, where they're thinking that they're sacrificing profits, but you got to think of it as more of a, you're putting your stop loss in a situation where you're able to protect more of your capital or add more of your funds into the trade because the stop loss is tighter. And maybe this candle closes all the way up here instead, but during those scenarios, like, it just means you just give up that opportunity. And where are we approaching right now for TRB? Okay, it's recent high. Oh, it awkwardly broke this to the upside. Whenever you look at a falling wedge and it breaks to the upside, you're like, it's mentally conflicting to try to enter along off of it. Because normally rising wedges are a sign of stress or a reversal, right? So we can pull this fixed to a depth here. Yeah, so it's meeting this high again at $40.27. Let's see if we create an equal high or if we close higher above it. I got in the all-time high is at 163.16. So maybe we actually retest the all-time high again. But normally, like statistically, it's like, I'd say in the 90% chance area. I don't remember the exact figure, but we normally get a hard rejection after the first retest of the all-time high. So I would anticipate if we do get the higher high here for a rejection at 163.16. Especially with this pump behavior. It barely had time to cool down. How much percentage has it pumped? 1,200 so far, 1,300. And when we get up there, it's going to be about 1,600. It's bizarre. It helps mitigate losses because you can't win every trade. You could try. Your goal is to try, but you can't. When you lose, is paying for gas to get to work. That's all it is. Thanks for answering. No problem, man. What do you think? Cardano's scratching resistance right now. Okay, we can look at that. At TRB, not much I can say other than that. We have this uptrending momentum here. We've got evolving momentum here. Your drawback fear is actually reducing based on this current momentum. Things are starting to slow down. So the drawback fear is getting better and better. We'll see how it reacts to this resistance. If we lose this uptrending support, we might get a bounce off of this and actually break through it. If not, we'll probably return right back down to 1.7. Well, let's look at this actually. Scratch that. Yeah, we can come back down to 120. I'm betting it's going to be pretty volatile to this point though. If we broke this, it'd be pretty quick. But I'm holding. Let's try it. All right, cool. All right, cool, man. Let's look at Cardano because Michael mentioned that it's testing resistance, I believe. Oh, yeah. At a good spot too. Fuck yeah. I love using support, like resistance when it flips as support, as one of my boxes that I check for a trade opportunity. Just retesting these lows as resistance right now. Get rid of that noise. How's AVAX doing? Strong still, eh? Yeah, didn't even try developing right shoulder so far. Might be, yeah, getting this far above this potential area, it invalidates that idea too. Trying to get acceptance back into this value area. What we have. Rejection off it. If we go over all the boxes, you check for trade opportunity. Yeah. So it depends on the style I want to do, but normally how I trade is I love to trade inside of formations. That's where I'm most profitable. It's when I'm trading inside of a structure. Let's go to Bitcoin for that example, because I probably have a bunch already charted for you guys. Here, we did a lot of them over here. So I like to, when we have a structure formed, meaning if at any point you're able to draw a formation, you can pull a fixed range value area off of it. One of these things right here. And so long as we stay within that value area, you can keep trading within it. And the more time you're inside the value area, the more respected it is as well. So I will prepare for a long, but I will not long. I'll prepare for a long when we get below the value area low, or if we're at it. So if we're at it or below, I'll prepare for a long. And then I will wait while we're inside of a formation for price action to close back inside the value area. So this is the value area right here. Between this, I know there's a lot of lines, so I'm sorry if it confuses you. But between this green line here and this red line here, this is where 70% of the volume is. And that's 70% because of how I set up the settings for this fixed range. The next box I check, yeah, once we get the candle close back inside, and if we break down trending momentum like this, I'll enter along, and then I'll look for the point of control for my first target. If it's on the top side, like it is here, of this value area, then I will be more bullish on it too, because the point of control acts like a magnet to the price action, because that's where the most traders are reacting. That's where the most volume is. It's where basically where market makers play the most. So I'll trade along here, target the point of control. If we don't get too bad of a negative reaction, I'll stay in the trade, and then ultimately I usually close either at the top of a formation or at the top of the value area high. And then the opposite is true for a short. So here we're looking at the value area high. We've got acceptance back inside of it, but we know that there's uptrending momentum here, so I'm going to wait for that to fail. And confluence of that, we create a double top. So I'd enter a short right around here, put my stop loss above the most recent swing high, and I'll target the value area low. And if there's situations where the point of control is right in your face, like in this short, for example, you would have to wait for a candle to close past it. So long as the risk to reward ratio is still good, you can enter that kind of short. That's, in a nutshell, how I like to trade inside of internal formations. I'll trade off of structural value areas and inside the formation, and I'll just do it over and over and over again. Like here, if we're too far away from the bottom, I might not enter it, But if we have a formation like this, inverted head and shoulders, I'll probably enter it and go off the the measurable target for it. And there's one here. And if the momentum's too broad, I usually won't enter. Because you gotta look, I think of the momentum not only as an opportunity to know when to enter, you also look at it as an opportunity to know where to put your stop loss too. Because once you enter a long, you want to look for the opportunity to start drawing momentum to the opposite direction, right? So let's say you entered a long on this double bottom. You draw momentum from here to here, and once it fails, it's a warning sign to tell you to prepare to get out, kind of thing. And as price action develops, you can draw like a little box like this, and you wrap it around a candle. It'll kind of tell you where your stop loss should be, like trailing the momentum line. Or you can use the average true range, or you can use structure. I usually recommend structure. So whenever you have these like little swing lows like this, you can adapt your price action to them once they get the higher high. That's like a really brief description of how I trade for inside of formations. And then I'm also a breakout trader. I let the market kind of decide what my strategy is, but I'm normally, a breakout confirmation trader, and I trade inside of the formations as well. But I love trading inside of like a long-term formation over a breakout. But the breakouts tend to give you have a lower win rate because you could be wrong, might not be the time for it to break. But when you're right, you usually get your most gains out of those setups. But with these internal formation trades, you can add more money to them because your stop loss is usually tighter. I spam this over and over and over again, that your stop losses, the amount that you lose in every single trade, should always be the same. Like if you have a $1,000 account, you should be risking to lose about $10 in every trade to gain 20. You might gain more, depending on how the market goes, but you should be consistently trying to lose the same amount. So your losses, if they're consistent, then your gains can outweigh those losses. And you can do milestone risk management. So every $1,000 that occurs into your account, every time you grow it $1,000, you can update that. So like if you're trading with $2,000, you'll be risking to lose $20 to gain 40. And you scale it till eventually you have an account where it's about the average person can live off of a $15,000 trading account. It all depends on your expenses. So we would find out what your expenses are first. We find out what your trading account is. Then we can align that to find out, to create goals, and then I hope that makes sense. But I have a much bigger course that will explain it in more detail than how I just did. Cardano, there we go. All right. So I might be entering a trade here. 10 minutes left on this candle. Let's see if we can go on the 5. Well, we have a confirmation on the 1. See, this is a confirmation bounce on the 1. This is the confirmation right here on the 1 minute candle right there. We have our first 5 minute candle acceptance into the zone. We can put our stop loss. The downside with entering along with downtrending momentum is that every candle that passes, it puts your stop loss more and more at risk, because you no longer have that downtrending momentum guarding your stop loss. Once we get to about here, once we have a candle close right around here, we could even come down further and retest that before going up. So that's why it's important to see a confirmation bounce, so you can have that guard for your stop loss. And we're getting a little bit of pullback. So I want to see this act as support here. So we know they're going to have a continuation. But Cardano's behavior is, once it fails its momentum, it usually just keeps going until eventually it breaks like it did here. And sometimes these moves left like 3 months for Cardano. That's nuts. I can show you some examples in the chart. I got tons of them that I've traded. Do you recommend exchange for I can't see. I got this emote thing in my way. Exchange for something based users. US based users probably? Yeah, US based users that want a high leverage and no KYC. Yeah, I've got BingX, Blowfin. Blowfin's kind of new, but the reserves are incredible. And BitGet was my favorite. Well, but it was Bybit was my absolute favorite, and then I moved on to BitGet, and I fucking love them too. Their reserves are like 2 to 1, but you can't use them anymore. So BingX is probably my favorite right now. There's Blowfin. I know some people are using MEXC, but I'm not a fan of it. You'll get pop-ups like a million times. BingX, yeah, BingX is great. You'll use ZoomX. Yeah, ZoomX I've heard of. I have a friend of mine like Alex O Crypto, if you guys know him. He's got his own channel. He uses ZoomX too. But I would recommend BingX. We actually have a tournament going on right now that we're in. We're 7th place so far as a team. We try to get the top. I don't know if we'll be able to get the top 3 this time, but we'll probably get the top 4. I don't really like this style of tournament, unfortunately. It's based on your volume. It's not based on your P&L. The team setup. So like, it'll show you how much volume you contributed. I got like 200,000 volume, and then your total teams. I'm not a fan of that. I really like Bybit's tournament setups, but I'm hoping that these guys have their own thing too. There's about 10,000 people, and what I really don't like about it is based on. I should have signed up with a smaller account, because it's based on the entire account's growth, and I grew my entire account like 2% since we started this, but I trade with $100,000, so I might. In dollar value, I might be way above some of these guys, but they could be trading with $100. And when you're trading with $100, it's really no fear in what you do in terms of leverage. But it's not too bad. Yeah, I think we can get to top 4. We can split the rewards together. Bitcoin. Oh, reject out this. Cardano. Yeah, so we can look at Bitcoin's price action and see how it reacts to this. So there's another thing too that you guys should know about, is like knowing that if Bitcoin has a limitation in front of it, like a barrier, like this, you should be more hesitant to enter an altcoin trade with a lot of liquidity with Bitcoin. And Cardano has tons and tons of Bitcoin liquidity. So if you know there's a barrier in front of Bitcoin, you should step back and wait till that barrier is broken before entering a trade, because this wick could result you in a loss. Now we have bearish absorption right here. That's when you have an engulfing red candle like this off of a pump, and there's barely any wicks above. Sign of a potential reversal. So we can time this entry with Bitcoin's downturning momentum break. I use one. Do I need a VPN? Yeah, you'll need a VPN for most exchanges, unfortunately. But you should have a VPN anyways if you're in the cryptocurrency space, just for security. It'll protect your endpoint, and then it's harder for you to become a victim in scams and stuff. So yeah, VPN no matter what, whether you're a trader or not, it's a good call. I would recommend NordVPN. They're dirt cheap, and they're really user friendly, incredibly user friendly, and they're good. Brian's long on Cardano. Where'd you enter, man? Good morning, Zach. How you doing, man? We'll have that elite call tonight too, guys, if you want to jump in on that. Or you can look at your Cardano setup if you want, just to make sure you're good. I was preparing to enter this. We didn't get in. I wanted to see first before entering because of the behavior. I wanted to see this line here act as support. During this, we had a little bit of a pullback starting, and it so far we closed below it. So we might get the confluence of Bitcoin breaking its downtrending momentum with Cardano getting the higher high here, and then we can enter along on it. You're 5706. Well, you're in a good spot. Good job, man. Are you 1 minute chart trading on the double bottom? That's like the only reason I see. But it's yeah. It's a good setup, man. So you're here. You went off divergences and the 1 minute double bottom. Cool, okay. So you used, yeah, that was a crazy divergence here. And for those of you who don't know what divergence is, it's when your oscillator is moving in the opposite direction as the price action. So we have the price action going in a downtrend here. An oscillator showing signs of strength through divergences like this, and then you wait for the confluence of the price action first. So you don't just enter along because there's divergences. You use them as a warning sign that things are preparing to reverse. And yeah, the entry would have been here if you're a breakout trader. Well, I guess actually would have been off of this candle here because it closed above the neckline. Or if you're a confirmation trader, it would have been on this candle here. But you'll very rarely see me trade on the 1 minute. But if you're someone who likes using high leverage, sometimes it's necessary to dive into low time frames. Oh, Cardano lost 1 minute momentum, but that's nothing really. So good job, man. Now we just need to wait for that higher high, and you can stay in that position. Probably gonna have your stop loss at 57.30. Anything else you guys want to look at? I used to love KuCoin, but that changed. But they seem to change things around. Yeah, I was forced out of KuCoin because they required KYC, and then they wouldn't accept my KYC when I gave it to them. So, I stopped liking KuCoin when they stopped honoring stop losses, though. GROK. Okay, I missed GROK before then. Yeah, I'll be careful, Brian, because this looks like this bearish absorption is giving enough momentum to potentially break this downtrending resistance, and it's following along with Bitcoin's price action, and Bitcoin got rejected on this downtrending momentum. I think we could bounce here off this downtrending resistance, that flip it as support, and then break to the upside. But if we look at this confluence with this resistance, we might not get the recovery. Some of these buyers are in denial. that we just broke. We just lost this momentum. We're trying to hold. Okay, we'll keep an eye on the ADA chart for you. On the AVAX chart, we had someone jump in and along. We want to hold this support here. And maybe we'll get acceptance back into this ranging value area here. This was an awkward trade. Out of all the ones we did yesterday, we did have a good pump. But once we closed below this momentum, I was like, I'm completely out at that point. And I closed some on this during this candle here. All right, let's go to what was that? GROK. That's low market cap. I can tell just by this. When they don't have their logo on TradingView yet. We'll go to MEXC. Oh, it's got some relative strength. Right, now let's go with the daily. See if they find any limitations. Oh man, this is young. Yeah. Definitely low market cap. See, I could draw a trend line from here to here. But you'd have to take it with a grain of salt, because we actually haven't confirmed a higher high yet. So it's not a valid trend line yet. So what I'm going to do, just going to have horizontal support here to watch. I'm betting that the confluence of us hitting this support level will actually have us break this downtrending momentum when we see price action reach it. So I'm going to get, where's my brush tool? Come on, Kyle. There we go. So we have an inverted head and shoulders forming, which is bullish, but we have the limitation of this downtrending momentum that is protecting our ability to hit that target. So it looks bullish right now. But I'll be careful. Price action comes up slowly, that'll be more beneficial. If it came up slowly, and low volume reversals are incredibly common, and then we, in the confluence of the break of this uptrending resistance for this inverted head and shoulders, we break this at the same time, all right, then we definitely hit that target, easily hit that target. We'll probably exceed way past it. So just be cautious. If you want to enter in on this long, just watch this barrier right in front of your face. If we instead come up, have it act as resistance, and don't create the higher high, and don't confirm this, then we can just expect it to drop. And a slow volume climb would probably result in a rising wedge. Right? So watch this support level. Watch this resistance. If the resistance breaks, it will play off as a inverted head and shoulders and definitely hit that target. If the support breaks, it'll play off like a rising wedge, and the target's right here at the bottom. And it'll likely exceed the target and hit that daily support level right here. So you get two really good setups here. But this one's going to take some time. It does have its own relative strength. You can scalp trade this within the structure. Like here, for example. And here, for example. So long as the R&R is there, of course. When this candle closes, you'll find out. Oh, this is the hourly. We might be able to dissect this on the 15. Yeah. So this candle close. Let's see if it's safe. It's a 1 to 1.76. So if you're trying to be consistent, you'd want to put like 30% less of what you normally would in a trade. But also look at that stop loss suggestion. You're going to be losing 6.31% to try to gain 11. So you're going to be risking to lose more than what you're trying to gain. And yeah, but right now we broke this momentum within the structure. So the target will be the top side of the structure, and we'll pull the structural value area. And I want to include that liquidity in it too. Oh no, I don't. From here to here. That's tight. Yeah. It's up to you. I'm not touching that. It's the AI from Twitter. What are you talking about? Render and uni. Yeah, the stop loss thing is insane to me. Easy way to kill an exchange. Well, the problem that KuCoin had was the fact that they only accepted $250,000 worth of liquidity from these small market caps. So the entry for altcoins was very, very low. And that's why they have so many. They have so many altcoins. But what happens when you have a small amount of liquidity is there's price differences between them and other exchanges. So people would arbitrage by buying it maybe low on another exchange, selling it high on KuCoin, and then transferring those funds out, and then rinsing, repeating over and over again. And that would dwindle the already small amount of liquidity on that exchange. So you get these crazy quote unquote scam wicks. So there's less and less liquidity. It takes less funds to move the asset on the exchange, even though the market cap could be much higher overall as a collective from all the other exchanges. So KuCoin kind of shot themselves in the foot, and they keep doing it. They're still doing it that way. And they're not ones to kind of listen to advice too. So when that happens, they end up creating spread. And the spread issues causes problems with your take profits, it causes problems with your entries, it causes problems with your stop loss. So when people say they're not honoring their stop loss, it's normally because it just closed at a much lower price than what they put their stop loss at because of the spread problems. So that's kind of what I mean. So that's Gronk. There's a setup here, but watch the value area high. Watch for potential consolidation between the value area high and the point of control. And we might break to the upside of a potential inverted head and shoulders here and bring us to the top of the structure. If you want to play it safer, you can wait until this breaks with more structure, of course. But even then, it's still a 1-to-1. So when we're squeezed at this apex point to the point where like it's not really safe to trade inside this structure because the R&R is not there. I really want to short. I would want to short this though. The closer we get to the apex point, the better the risk-reward ratio to this target. If we break this to the upside, that's just as equally good too, because you could be entering in a very early, longer-term rally. Even though this is the target, you zoom in on the daily, we could end up hitting much higher levels. It's a very young asset, so people don't really know what it's capable of. We're at the point where marketing is really important, so see what their marketing plan is and their tokenomics. I don't know anything about this thing, but we got two really good setups being prepared here. The long setup is way more profitable than the short, but the short's easier for a beginner to trade. Oh, it's a meme coin named after the Twitter AI. Okay, that makes more sense. I see what the other person mentioned earlier. All right, let's look at render. We have a render chart, so let's pull up the render chart. RNDR. I do gotta go soon, guys. Probably stay on for another half hour. I need to stop doing this. I keep creating two charts and I don't know which one's which. Or maybe it's not me. Maybe it's Auto. Maybe it's developing something on there. Liquidity zone. Nope, not liquidity zones. Render. Yeah, this was awkward too. Let's go the hourly. Render was trying to confirm out of this rising wedge to the upside. And I remember losing a trade here actually. I accepted this as a confirmation. I probably shouldn't have. And I entered a long. And I got to quickly, yeah, I don't know if I closed any during this wick, but I remember getting my stop loss hit. But then we created inverted head and shoulders. And it kind of acts as a confirmation formation to this rising wedge structure. And we got these new highs. And now we're starting to get exhaustion. The 462 level, what's that from? We're not all-time highs, right? Yeah, no. 462 level, some confluence with this liquidity marker that we're watching. A little bit of support here, and act as resistance again here. And now, if we zoom in on the lower time frames, we got broad momentum here, evolving momentum here. We lost uptrending momentum here. It just double topped and actually already just hit its technical target. Now, there's not much we can go on. This chart's starting to turn into a mess too. Let's get rid of this little bit of noise here. Let's get rid of it. Kind of got that descending broadening wedge behavior, but it's not really. It's like an awkward price action. Yeah, I wouldn't trade this. But yeah, render, yeah, it's just cooling down after hitting really high levels. I would give it more time to consolidate before trading anything major. Yeah, you can trade off of like the swing failure patterns with the double tops and stuff like that, or the double bottoms with the, loss of break of resistance here. But yeah, there's nothing I would jump in on right now. Are you in a position on render? Is there anything that you want to go over? Is the coupon code learn to earn for 1 month? Yeah, so you can have basically 1 month to try it out for $1 to see if it's for you. And you'll get access to the 4 coaching calls per week, the 22 courses, and signals every single day. I don't usually give signals on the weekends, but Thesis is a savage. He'll trade 24/7. He'll give signals all the time. And David, he gives signals whenever the market tells him to enter, basically. So he's a 24/7 trader. I like trading between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So I'll usually give signals between that time. And yeah. You entered Gronk at 0.00757. Nice. Good job. 0.00757. Okay, so you're up quite a bit. So if you're in a position there, you just got to watch this uptrending support. If it breaks, you should use it as a warning sign to get out. I'm not sure if you're entering for a long-term position, but if it's a short-term one, that's what I'd do. I would get out once this breaks to the downside. But if it breaks to the upside, then you have a really good excuse to stay in for a while. And then we can revisit it again in the future if things like start to give us signs that things are about to go down. I can warn you to get out there. I tend to try to catch the exact tops and the exact bottoms of the market. You'll never be perfect or spot on because there's a delay. You always have to wait for a sign that support's not being honored, and then you get out. Whether it be short-term trading or macro trading, it's the same thing. The candles are the same. It's just more information can be dissected from the higher time frames to the lower, so the higher time frames are more reliable. But for render guys, there's nothing we can jump in on right now. But it does look like it's trying to coil up for a reversal, because when I pull the value area for this structural zone, it looks like a descending broadening wedge. But its behavior of its resistance doesn't really meet up with that consistency. So I don't want to call it that. I would just rather call it a descending channel for now. And descending channels, they can last a lot longer than broadening wedges. Broadening wedges usually wait for a concrete level of support, and then the volatility speeds up, and then we break to the upside usually, especially when it's descending. When it's ascending, then it usually breaks to the downside because of higher volatile rejections. So let's look at the next one. AVAX M. Oh, we can look at that really quick, sorry. AVAX M, it's double top. Okay, you were saying it off of this. This little guy here. Hasn't confirmed. It tried to confirm. So here, the benefits of being a confirmation trader is you'd see a breakout trader would enter here, and the confirmation trader would wait. We got the pullback, and you need the lower low, but we never got the lower low. So it saved you from making a mistake. And we do have a micro double top forming here. And I think that's probably what you were looking at too. So it might drop. Sucks that we have to rely on a lower time frame like this. But we got, yeah, the target's right back at the POC here at 39.63 if we break this to the downside and confirm it. Assuming we don't wedge. If we wedge, then we have a bull pennant here. The continuation actually looks pretty strong. $42. That's bizarre. But we have this barrier right here. So we're just gonna watch for those those two scenarios, and then you just take action on one of them, whatever one happens first. Bitcoin's behavior. 4 hour looks bullish. Okay. Maybe we'll get this then. What I mean, I'm talking about Cardano when I say that. I want to enter this long. Cardano is such a stress-free asset to trade. And we have a new stop loss location here. Same actually, same one. 57.54. Probably stop people out. Alright, I need to get my... I just want to get my position set up. So I want to put in $2,000 on this one. Make sure it correlates with your exchange if you're charting it. Alright, so I'll check in on this in 5 minutes. I got a timer here. I had to get this timer because I kept missing my own signals, and the alarms are not always dependable on TradingView. Alright, cool. Okay. Let's look at Unify now. Yep, we can look at Unify. We have a unified chart. What am I doing? Unify. We wanted this to go much further. So we were looking at 785 as our target, but we got rejected at 714. We knew this was going to be a problem, but we just pumped really hard here, got exhausted quick. We lost this momentum, and that was our final straw. I got some out here, then after we lost this momentum, I was completely out. And now, let's get rid of that. Now it's trading off of this breakout here. So we got a pretty good setup there. Yeah, when we got accepted back into this value area, it ranged right back into it. But we had a triple top or head and shoulders here. And we played it out, hit its target, but maintained this downtrending support. And it came in confluence with the 50 EMA here. So now what I'd want to wait for like a, you know, a longer term play out. What is this rejecting off of here? I want to look at that really quick. I think that's the daily uptrending momentum. Yeah, that's important. So we got, this trend line's not perfect. What's going on there? That's better. Oh, I drew in the daily. We didn't do that. Still not perfect. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I switched from auto to log and it messed up my trend lines. Either way, we lost that momentum and we are creating potential double bottom after ascending bounce here. So we just need to see this neckline break in confluence with this downtrending resistance break. That'd be a really good long position. You might be able to get an earlier entry off of the double bottom neckline break here, if that's how you want to trade it. But you got to watch this limitation right in your face. So I'd prefer if you just waited till this broke and see a confirmation bounce off of that and trade it off of it there. And then just watch, when you have a descending channel like this, they don't give you very good technical targets. So you just got to watch every zone where you see a retest like this is almost always a significant level of resistance you're going to have to watch along the way up. So watch the reactions. You might have to get out at any one of these points. But we don't want too much time below this uptrending support here, this daily momentum here. But overall, I'm very bullish on it because this is a formation that, what's this one? This was 1,000 as well. Oh, 479 days. 479 days. And we were looking at this massive formation breakout. And this formation right here is the confirmation formation. So we were targeting pretty high levels because of it. And we basically hit the value area high of this massive structure at $7.14 and got a really strong rejection. So now we're just basically dancing around the POC and hopefully we get a recovery. Oh, timer went off. And yeah, then we can just, if we get a break of this downtrending resistance, then maybe we can get it, like still a good entry for a long-term hold. Like this is a long-term setup. But one thing I don't like about Uniswap is their emissions. They did update them, they did make them better, and coincidentally, quote unquote, they did at the same time that they had the macro breakout. So let's look at Cardano. Yeah, we're almost there. Let's make us wait a little longer. What's the pullback on that? Oh, 1%? It's not bad. That's easy. Bitcoin still got that barrier in our face though. Cardano's got decent relative strength, but not enough to, when it comes to your entry, it's really important for everything to correlate really well. What were we looking at? We were looking at Uniswap. Is there any other questions about Uniswap? But that's basically what I'm waiting for. If I want to get in on this, is a break of this downtrending resistance. This neckline's going to be a problem. We have all this support to act as resistance. So if we get acceptance above this, we're probably going to get a quick move back up to 625. But that gives this uptrending daily support an opportunity to act as resistance. Around here. Okay. HBAR confirms in 2 minutes. Render breaking. Yeah, I got an actual timer yet. So look, I use it for like timing workouts, timing like when I want to prepare for a breakout or timing schedule, stuff like that. Like if I'm trying to do a task in a certain amount of time, I'll have a timer for that too. You can do it. If you want to delay a little bit for Bitcoin to break, that'd be nice too. You did the TRB breakdown. Nice. We can look at that too together if you want. Do you need a VPN for BingX? Yes, I do. Yep. I live in Canada. I need one. If you live in the US, you'll need one too. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up in the chat. It's not letting me scroll through the chat for some reason. There we go. Okay. My FVP doesn't align with yours on GR. Okay, can you show again how you pulled it? Yeah. Where we have GR. Okay, we have to look that up, eh? I trade off structural value areas. There's different ways you can trade off value areas. We had a coach for a while teaching in InvestorShare who liked to trade off of basically the daily value area. It's more relevant to stocks, but in the Bitcoin space, you want to pull it from the moment where, if you're doing a structural value area, you want to do it from the moment when the trend line begins for your structure. That's what makes it a structural value area. So you're finding out the value area for the formation that you're trading within, so you can understand the behavior of why it's doing certain things within the formation, or certain limitations when it has the breakout. And what I mean by the breakout limitations is like basically, if this broke to the downside, the value area low could be a limitation of preventing you from hitting your technical target down here. If you are anticipating that this is going to go to the upside, then you're going to know that there's going to be a limitation right here in your face that could result in an inverse head and shoulders. And that inverse head and shoulders, like formations, can help dictate when we're going to be moving from one value area to the next, aka one formation to the next. And you can use the visible range volume profile, which most people are more familiar with, which is the one that I'll pull it up my screen here. It's probably already on in my chart. What am I talking about? What? Oh, there it is, right here. Right here. So this is the visible range. So what this does is it takes the data from all the candles on your chart and does the same thing that the fixed does. But the fixed, you're basically pulling data from this moment to wherever you're pulling it to. But this indicator is pulling it from all the candles on your chart. So if I zoomed in a little bit and got rid of some of the candles, this is going to update to show you the data for the existing candles on your screen. And these are important to look at. You don't have to look at it this way. You can pull a fix all over the place. Whatever you see consolidation or formation, you can pull a fix, and then you're going to be able to see the point of control, the value area highs and lows for those areas, and you can use all that data as limitations for your long-term holds. But this consolidates all that. So you can see this is a point of control here. You're going to know that this is going to be a strong area of resistance along the way up. And the price action, you can anticipate for it to move quickly and through these valleys because there's not very much volume here. So it just moves from one spot to the next area of interest really quickly. And one thing that excites me about AVAX is the giant valley that it has above a certain resistance. When we break above a certain resistance on AVAX, we're just going to soar to the next level. But yeah, so that's how you basically use it to understand what kind of behavior you can anticipate with an asset. Does that make sense? I never seem to get my VPVR set up correctly. So I can show you how to set it up. So you go to your settings and your row size. I use the VRVP with 200, but you can go up to 1,000. All it really does is what rows basically stands for the amount of candles it's putting on the chart here to consolidate the data. 200 is enough for this. And the value area volume is 100. And for the fixed, it's a little bit different because you're looking at a more microscope under microscope kind of thing. You want it to be 1,000, and the value area volume to be 70, so that your value area where you're seeing your value area low and your value area high is based on 70% of the volume. If I were to change this, it'd be based on, like, if I put in 50, it'd be based on the 50% of the volume. But 70 is really important. You want to trade within that. It gives you tighter stop losses, better confirmations, and less room for error. Magic looks like it's going down further. See, Magic or Matic? Yeah, Matic, I think it's going to keep going down for until 72.87. That's where I'm anticipating for it to begin to reverse. It's got a massive double top right now, man. We just lost this really strong uptrending support. Oh, Cardano, what am I doing? Okay, good. We got it. We're not missing anything. All right, so for Matic, I'm assuming we're just gonna have to wait for Bitcoin to do its thing. We might not even get this long, but still need to wait for the higher high here. All right, so we went over Uni. We went over. You need like an electronic bracelet to not miss your own alerts. That's actually a really good idea. Yeah. That probably doesn't exist yet, other than like people probably using their like Apple Watch or their Samsung Watch to notify them of alerts if they have like. Can you download the TradingView app on those devices? That'd be pretty cool, and you can just correlate the alerts to that. But if it doesn't exist, we should make it. That wouldn't be hard to make. What else am I missing? I know I'm missing a couple of assets. So we went over Grok, Render, Uni. HBAR confirms in 2 minutes. Okay, we missed that. Look at HBAR. Yeah, this will be a much better setup if we just bounced, create the higher high. Then we can have a stop loss right around here. That'll be way better. That's something I would trade if we got the bounce like that. So Uni. Oh, it's HBAR. HBAR we want to look at. I put that in the chart. Oh. All right, we got the breakout. So breakout traders are in. We just need the confirmation for someone like me. So we got the pullback starting. And we have the level to watch. So we got half the data already. So now we just need to see price action to close above this. Like swoop around, close above it here. What is going on with my chart? I can't draw on it. Probably just lag. There we go. Now I can draw. Yeah, I just need to close up above here. Then we can enter on that. Could give us a better stop loss. I would want to give it some breathing room first, though. With a big move like this, maybe I'll just, rather than just off the confirmation bounce, So our entry is now going to be roughly around here. Give it some breathing room after the entry. When we get some distance away, then I'll be entering. And the great thing about inverse head and shoulders is you have really strong momentum to follow already. So you can use this as your guide tool to tell you when to get out, or at least close some of your position depending on where it's happening. I appreciate you bringing that up. So it's looking good. So breakout traders, if you're a breakout trader, you should already be in. Your stop loss will be right around here. If you're a confirmation trader like myself, that's what we're just waiting for now. Ethereum. Yeah, we still got Ethereum. I'm pretty sure HBAR has a lot of Ethereum liquidity. I'm going to validate that really quick. Hedera. Man, they really want their own relative strength. We got a lot of stablecoin liquidity. Some Bitcoin. Man, yeah, they really want their own relative strength. So what some asset creators will do is they'll mostly use stablecoins for liquidity, so they won't have a strong correlation with the price action with like Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example. No matter what, there's going to be some correlation because they're in the same ecosystem or space, right? So they can just take profits in Bitcoin and then move it into the altcoins when there's the altcoin season begins. But you see a lot of stablecoin liquidity that normally means they're trying to have their own relative strength. If you have a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum liquidity, what ends up happening when they pump in value, your liquidity pools increase in value, and it makes it easier for it to increase in value. So some asset traders who are bullish on an asset will put a lot of liquidity of that asset in it so that they can be carried along in the bull market. But in the bear market, they also get dragged down. So it's a double-edged sword. How long would you suggest until someone would be profitable trader or can make a living off of it? That's a very difficult question. Most people, I'll tell you my story. Like mine, it took me, it depends, man, on the energy you do, how much energy you put into it. Because I back tested every word that was spoken to me on YouTube because I learned everything from YouTube. But I took thousands of hours of YouTube while taking, bathroom breaks, quote unquote, at work, because I hated my job so much. I go to the bathroom a lot to try to figure shit out and just learn how to trade. And it probably took me I think it was 4 or 5 months before I was profitable. But I got cocky and I quit my job too early. So I grew my account to $15,000 from $26. And then I lost half of it in a single trade during the COVID crash. And when I lost half of it in a single trade, I knew I was missing something. And this was right after I quit my job. And when you quit your job, the stress of trading adds on. And you know that you have to be profitable in order to pay for your bills. So you end up making stupid mistakes by adding to your losing trades or stuff like that. So I was mostly a martingale trader until I figured out the proper risk management. And then I soared. After I figured out momentum and proper risk management and value areas. That's when I skyrocketed my portfolio. Everyone's different. There are some people in the community that became profitable. Like Bun's a good example. We have someone, I don't know his real name, but he grew his account from $250, and now he's making like $20,000 on average per trade. And he started like 7 months ago, I believe, and he's doing really, really well. Like every member has a unique story and how long it takes them to learn. It all depends on how devoted you are. But it took me like 4 or 5 months. But I probably put in the cool thing about crypto. Like I'm not bashing stocks or anything like that, but in the crypto space, you're going to learn how to trade way faster than someone who's learning in the stock market, because there's 10 times more opportunities in the crypto space because it's so volatile. So you can end up doing 10 trades while one person in the stock market only does one. So you end up learning 10 times faster as a result of someone in the stock market space. Plus, there's more things to learn in crypto. Like in stocks, you have a fixed supply. Unless they do an inverse split, you have a fixed supply. So you don't have to worry about inflation against like the programmed inflation that they have, like emissions. You don't have to worry about burns. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff in the stock market. So there's more to learn in crypto than there is in the stock market, but you can use that data as an advantage to know when to short and when to long too in crypto. Like burns, if you see an inverse head and shoulder and there's a burn that day, that's extra confluence for your long position. If you know they're releasing tokens for an asset because there's scheduled token releases, then you know that if there's like a double top or an inverse head or a head and shoulders, then you know there's the extra confluence for your short position, stuff like that. But yeah, man, it just depends on how devoted you are. I sunk in so many hours to figure it out, and I back tested every single word that someone taught on YouTube, because some of the crap that you hear online, man, it's all baloney. So you have to go on replay mode, right? And just practice trading the same formation over and over and over again, or the same strategy over and over and over again, to see if it's actually profitable with the asset you want to trade. Typically, the higher the market cap, the more reliable things are. But yeah, testing everything. I back tested the double bottom formation to see how likely it is to hit his target, probably like 200, 300 times before I even tried it in the real live environment. And then I only traded that formation because that was the only one I perfected to have a win rate high enough to be profitable in. And then I moved on to the next one, and then the next one. And then I started adding other rules to my strategy. So I had less opportunities, but I had better profitability. You can build and customize your own strategy, but you should always test it, dramatically test it before you use real money on it. And then the hardest part is not the learning how to trade, is you're learning how to control your emotions. That becomes the hardest part. And you might not agree with me until you do it. But anyone who's a part of the investor community knows how important mindset is. We have a whole course, we have 2 courses just on mindset. And I recommend taking them first before you even learn how to do TA, because if you can't control yourself, then the TA, you're not listening to the rules, it's not going to matter. I'd say technical analysis, just learning the rules, is the easy part, and then the mindset part is the hardest part after that. You just be consistent with your risk management and being consistent with following your own rules. That's the hardest part. So all this, what you learn is meaningless if you can't control yourself. Like jumping in and following in on the candle or something like that. You see pump, you don't want to miss out on it, so you enter ignoring your risk management, or yeah. But I can go on for hours. If I were to add to that, man, I just say just consistency is so important in trading. If you're a long-term trader and just learning how to trade for the long-term stuff, it's going to be remarkably easier to be a trader. The rules are basically the same, but you're going to be doing one trade probably every month, maybe 2 trades a month. If you want to become a day trader, you'll be doing that amount in a day. You'll be like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 in a day. Sometimes the market will say there's nothing. And the problem with some people is they'll try to force a trade when there's nothing there. But I'll never give a signal if I feel like I wouldn't do the trade myself. Every signal that I do, I do myself. We got a good support bounce so far on each bar. This is probably one I'm going to want to take for sure. And we might not reach the target, but even if we only made it to about here, that's good R&R right there. Just got to watch this. This is roughly around our 1-to-1. If we get a negative reaction to our 1-to-1, we'll close 50%. And then there's mathematically no more risk in the trade. Because if you got your stop loss hit, even if it stayed the same at your 1-to-1, then the only thing you're losing is on fees. Thanks for these insights. No problem. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can just shoot me a message in the Discord. How long would you... Well, yeah, $15,000 is when you can start making a living off it, usually. Because you can make about $300 a day really easily with 15 grand. I can show you a calculator. This is a calculator that got me FOMOing and trading. Let's say you started with $1,000 and you only made 2% per day, per trade, sorry. And you did 300 trades. You turned that $1,000 in 300 trades for just 2% growth, about 380,000, assuming you compounded every single gain. And of course, this is not calculating the losses. And if you have a 50% win rate, it's going to take you 600 trades, not 300 trades to get to this goal. So your goal is to try to improve your edge in the market by increasing your win rate. So it takes you less trades to reach your financial goals and stuff. And then you can allocate a percentage of your earnings from your trades to a long-term positions, or what my goal is. My goal is to reach $3.6 million. So I can put a large majority of it into dividend stocks, but dividend advocates, ones that are constantly paying more every year and increasing in value, so I can live off of the dividends. What's your off-ramp for moving profits into an account that you, for example, pay bills with? So I use Coinbase for my off-ramp. It goes from my Coinbase to my PayPal, then from my PayPal to my bank. And that's how it's going to be until basically until the banks start accepting crypto. And it's getting close with Chainlink, with the CCIP technology. You're going to be able to send Bitcoin and stuff right to your bank account. So for now, that's how I'm doing it through Coinbase. And depending on where you live, you might have a better off-ramp scenario. Some people are able to do it right through their exchange. But I live in Canada, so there's not very many options. But first, I have to get to that 15K. If you can prove, yeah. So the good thing about starting with a small account like I did is you're training your emotions slowly. I know it sounds difficult to get to 15K, Michael, but once you get to 15K, you've proven to yourself that you can grow your account that high, and then all it really is just you got to think about the percentage growth that you've done. The percentage growth from 15K to like 150,000 is no different than growing account from 1,500 to 15K. When did you get so handsome? Oh, thanks, man. How you doing? All right. Now that I'm blushing from Alex over here, Shim's masterclass. Hey, Shim, how you doing, man? I feel like I'm missing something in the chat here. Backtest daily. Watch the whole ICT core content series. Yeah, Smart Money Concepts is good. Forward testing the London session, that'd be the input. Yeah, so testing the session that you're going to be trading is really important to make sure that the strategy that you've learned or that you developed is going to work well with that session. I like trading the New York session. I have the highest win rate while the New York session's active. So yeah, that's important too. So where you live geographically is going to impact what kind of session you trade, obviously. Unless you're willing to completely change your sleeping schedule so that you're up in the middle of the night if you're on the other side of the world. Like Shim, for example, is. Shim, you're on the other side of the planet, so he would have to get up or stay up late, sorry. I think it's stay up late in order to trade. And then sleep until noon or something. AVAX breaking the neckline. So the neckline you mean for the double top? Yeah, okay. So we didn't get the pennant. We created a... Also, it went off of the falling wedge when we were looking at this. This is ugly. Yeah, we get acceptance back into this value area. We're probably going to come back down to this point of control at 39.63. We got the measurable target. We'll probably come in confluence at that. Yep, perfectly. And lower time frame confirmation. This is super low time frame. So we're coming back up right now for the retest. So we just need to have the candle close below this. And then I'll probably recommend using the average true range for your stop loss suggestion on this. Yeah, right there is good. And then you got see what the R&R is. 1 to 1.4. That's not great. It's not great. So you need to have a stop loss guard around here. We'll see how this reacts. We haven't had the confirmation yet. Maybe that confirmation will give us a better stop loss guard. We can have it around here or something. And for Cardano, we're not getting that anytime soon. Man, I really wanted that trade. Market did not want to provide. And H-bar is definitely still in the cards. It has really strong relative strength, so no matter what Bitcoin's doing, it tends to do what it wants. So I'm going to wait for that confirmation. It's probably not going to happen during this call, unfortunately. This is going to take several... let's see what we have. It could take up to 7 hours. If it had been in confluence with a retest to this uptrending momentum here, it could take up to 7 hours for the confirmation bounce. I don't think it'll take that long. It's probably going to be invalidated or validated before that. But we can use momentum as an HCA guide. Early rise creates a better rhythm, circadian rhythm long term. Yeah, I agree with that. Unless you buy one of those fancy lights. But no one wants to live in artificial light. Cardano has been a bleep lately. Okay. Cardano we've been massacring it. Cardano is a very different trading style compared to most assets in crypto. You really got to understand momentum. I'll show you some examples on the daily chart. When it picks a direction, it goes that direction for a long time. Like this, for example, we were in the structure for 22 days before we confirmed the loss of support, right? And then let me undo that move. And then we had this tight drop. If you didn't get in here, right, then you didn't really get in at all. Like I scalped this along the way down, but the great thing about Cardano is when it picks that direction, you can scalp it on the lower time frames that direction and be a lot more dependable until its macro resistance breaks, and then you're going the opposite direction. And you're focusing on the resistance rather than support because you'll be focusing on long positions. So when the resistance breaks, you'll be just jumping in on every long you can. And then you'd have a macro hold starting here, and that macro hold would end here, and you have a bunch of micro trades here. So you have two separate accounts or something like that. And then then it dropped here, and then didn't really stop dropping until recently, around 28 cents. But we got a really good call from this double bottom here, and we've just been following this momentum until this awkward consolidation happened, and then we just blew up. But yeah, you gotta just learn how to be a trend trader for Cardano, and learn about swing failure patterns. Swing failure patterns will be your best friend with knowing when to enter a reversal on Cardano too. Honestly, swing failure patterns will work really well with a lot of the high market cap stuff. But it does look like it's trying to reverse this little trend here we got going on here. And they're great warning signs to tell you when to get out of your short. So if you're in a short from up here, we just broke momentum now. So this is a warning sign that we're preparing to turn things around. All we're waiting for is that higher high. It just doesn't want to give it to us. So HBAR and Cardano have the two safest setups right now that we found today. HBAR is super profitable too. What's your win rate for this month? My win rate for this month, I don't know what the win rate is for this month, but I gotta go. All right, cool. I gotta go, guys. So I will talk to you in the Discord if you need help with anything. But yeah, I tried to cut this as close as I could to 4 o'clock because I know I gotta head out at 4. I think my win rate for this month, I think I only lost 4 or 5 trades this month. I would have to look at my trading journal to find out, but it's probably around 80%. My overall win rate right now is 89.4 since April 2022. It's probably roughly around 80 for this month too. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I gotta go. You shoot me a message in the Discord if you need help with anything. If you're already having trade setups that you need audited or anything like that, work on it together. And if you guys are interested in joining InvestShare, try right below. There's a coupon code for it's like learn to earn, and it'll give you it for $1 for the first month. Had fun. I'll talk to you guys later. We'll do this every Tuesday, okay? See you guys.